Everybody, welcome back to the Beyond the Peloton podcast. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here. I'm the author of the Beyond the Peloton newsletter, by the way. But I'm here with Andrew Vontz of the Choose the Hard Way podcast, always the Hard Way newsletter. We are talking about Remco Evenepoel as the new king of cycling and what will happen at the upcoming road race world championships this weekend in Kigali, Rwanda. Andrew, before we get into it, and before we dissect your worst nightmare of the Remco Evenepoel GC hype coming back at full steam, do you want to plug anything before we get into that?
Yeah, and thank you for not mentioning that I said definitively that Remco would not win the time trial world championships in 2025, which I'm mentioning it myself now. I'm just getting ahead of that bad news. You can follow me at HardwayPod on Instagram, as Spencer mentioned. My Substack is always thehardway.substack.com, and my podcast is Choose the Hard Way. Please give me a follow, subscribe, hit 5 stars. Some pretty interesting guests coming up. Just had Payson McElveen on recently. Have Colin Allred, who is running for Ted Cruz's seat in the Senate in the midterms and a big cycling fan, turns out. Had some pretty hot takes on Jonas Vingegaard at the 2025 tour. So tune in for that. And if you're ready to thrive in high stakes conversations, reach out to me. My coaching and consulting practice, One Real Voice, helps you stand out when the stakes are high and open-ended long-form conversations like podcasts. You can reach me at hello@onerealvoice.com. Spencer, what do you think about these worlds in Rwanda?
I got to say, I'm kind of a fan so far. I don't even know if that's PC to say. You're either supposed to be against it or for it. I'm not quite sure which, but I think it's looks pretty good. I'd probably go to Rwanda, which is, I guess, why they're doing this, right? It's like one big integrated advertisement. The course, I've been watching I watched the U23 men today, U23 women yesterday on the road race course. It looks really hard, like really hard course. Like every time you turn it on, doesn't matter when you turn it on, there's a tiny group, someone's getting dropped. We got cobbled climbs, paved climbs, fast descent, uphill finish. It's going to be, I'm actually quite excited for the men's race on Sunday. On the TT so far, I just want to get this out of the way. I'm going to list Remco Evenepoel's standalone time trial results since 2021. 2021 World Champs, third. 2022 World Champs, third. 2023 World Champs, first. 2024 Olympics, first. 2024 World Champs, first. 2025 World Champs, first. And Tadej Pogačar, who he beat, got fourth, right? That guy sucks, everyone says now. That was his best. That was his best result in a standalone time trial of his career. He got fourth. Before that, his best was sixth at the 2022 World Champs. He got 21st in 2023, 10th in 2021. I think we saw, I actually can't believe if I went back and listened to our episode, I think I would be shocked at how we just kind of wrote off Remco. It's like, well, clearly he's the best time trialist in the world. No one's close. And yeah, it kind of makes sense. You don't see a lot of Tour de France winners roll up and win the time trial world championships. It's a very different effort.
To be fair, we did see social media posts from Urska, Pog's partner, and she was complaining about some respiratory challenges during the women's time trial. And I know that there have been a lot of riders talking about the air quality, the altitude. They seem to be having some challenges breathing. And I also was wondering if potentially Pog, we might find out later, was a touch sick and maybe had a cold in the time trial. That, of course, has not been reported anywhere. Pog, consummate champion, complimented Remco on his victory. One of the classiest athletes in professional sports, and so high contrast when you think about how Remco handles defeat, for example.
What did they even it's like he's not even classy in victory. What did they say? Like, we're gonna crush him on Sunday. It's like, why are you saying that? Why would you say that? What are you thinking? Also, I mean, outside of any sickness or congestion with the diesel, I'm sure the diesel fuel filled air of Rwanda probably just the big thing is, if you notice, like almost nobody prepared for these world championships because they were busy with their jobs, like Jay Vine, Tadej, we're all racing. None of them with the altitude. Remco's been at altitude, or at least altitude training in some form. Kigali is like about the same altitude as Boulder, like a mile above sea level. And when you roll in on a Friday and then you race on a Sunday at altitude, you're not going to feel your best, as I'm sure you know from your Steamboat Springs event. What was that, last year? I think it probably could just be as simple as Remco really prepared for this, and the other guys did not prepare for it as much.
So what does this mean for the road race? This is a big
as
question.
Johan Brunel said, it is a long time between the time trial and the road race, and like you don't have the same form. I mean, Remco, I think I said this on the last show, he drops in to these one-off events and like looks unbelievable. Think about like DeBront's Appeal in the spring. Like you're like, this is the best rider in the world. And then a week later at Amstel Gold, a little bit like has been taken off that. And then a week later from that at Liège-Bastogne-Liège, he's not even finishing in the front group. So he tends to kind of come down from the supersonic performances. I'm also, the man is yoked. Have you seen, like, what is going on with his arms? He's just like showed up with massive biceps. I'm like, I don't know how well that's going to serve him on the 5,500 meters of climbing on the road race. He also is not doesn't have like a great, I hesitate to say this because obviously he's a good climber. Like if you can win the Vuelta, you're a pretty good climber. But these are in races, like one-day races with more than 4,200 meters of elevation gain, he's never beaten Tadej Pogačar. So that's not a great sign. And he's rarely even won races with that much elevation gain. Actually, I think he won Liège, which is 4,400. So he's only won one race in his career with 4,400 meters of elevation gain or more. So not a great sign there. What do you think?
I'm just thinking about the amount of elevation in this race. And as you noted, Spencer, we're seeing the main field just being shattered. And I just keep thinking about how long does this race stay together? How far out does the winning attack go? And when would be the most sensible moment for that attack to happen, knowing how difficult the parcours is?
Well, the most sensible is the Peter Sagan. You didn't see him. Well, we didn't see him like for 3 years straight in the World Championships, and he won 3 World Championships because he'd only pop his head out like in the last second or when he's made his move. So the most sensible would probably be the uphill finish. Just sprint, hide in their group, win the uphill sprint. But if you looked at this route, I'll just list some facts for people, by the way. So it's 268 kilometers long. It is very confusing series of circuits. It's like 9 circuits in the city, 1 big circuit in the middle of the race where they go out to the mountains, and they come back for 6 more circuits in the city. All 3 of those circuits are very hard. I guess 2 of them are the same one. The longest climb is 6K long at 7%. That's hard. The steepest climb is 1K long at 8.1%. And they do that, 15 times? And then there's a cobbled climb and it finishes on a climb. But I don't know if you've looked at the profile, there is Mount Kigali and about 100 kilometers left in the race. 6K long, 7%. You might see a move go there, Andrew. I don't think the race will really stay together past that. I don't know if Pogačar gets away free, but there will be a selection there, I would assume. And then it could get interesting because, like, who's going to have teammates? It's going to be hard to get a teammate over that climb. How's that play out from there? But Pogačar last year probably would have ridden away from everyone there. There's some talk maybe he's not in as good a shape as last year, but he looked pretty good to me in Montreal when he rode away from everybody and sat up and waited for his teammate just for fun. But, I mean, what do you think? Where do you think the move's going to go?
I'm looking at the route right now. And so we initially have 9 circuits, then there's Mount Kigali, then subsequently have 7.
Just 6 more of that same circuit.
Right. And Mur de Kigali, which is after Mount Kigali, has 0.3 of a kilometer of 14.7%. That seems like a spot where,
and that's like off the descent of that big climb.
Wow.
So it's like you catch on the descent. Oh, nope, you got a 15% pitch coming off this descent. Yeah.
Right. So that could be where separation occurs, and that's at 168 kilometers. So you still have 100K left. That's about right. That's a Pog long-range attack. I just want to note, Spencer, we just had the Everesting, was it the World Championship? I mean, non-sanctioned, but it's the Everesting Championship. What is it called?
Yeah, Everesting World Championship. I don't even know if they have the rights to that, but something like
Yeah.
that. Former
Okay.
guest won that event.
Yeah.
Jack Burke.
Jack Burke. Nice work, Jack. And going back to Rwanda, we have 6,096 vertical meters. So about 20,000
I don't
feet.
know if that is, because I see that on Pro Cycling Stats.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's fully accurate. So the most conservative one I've seen is 5,500 meters, so I'm just going with that. But some of these circuits, it's not as well mapped as you would think. It's like, we'll find out on the day. Basically, yeah, 20,000 feet of climbing.
Right. Yeah. And I'm going to the UCI's site, which almost guarantees I'll find no useful information.
Yeah. Change your nationality.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not getting any information here. Nonetheless, this is an aggressive amount of climbing. And so this is likely to become a race of attrition, as we noted. And then the question is, who's going to be in that final group before we likely have the winning move going at about 100K to go? And what do you think? Besides Remco and Pog, who's going to make that elite final group, if anyone?
Well, if I had to pick 3 people, I think Tom Pitcock is looking pretty dang good. I mean, to do what he did at the Vuelta and be as skinny as he is at the Vuelta, this is a way better course for him than the Vuelta was. I would say Tom Pitcock could be there. Primož Roglič, do we know anything about him? I guess in theory he could be there.
Wow.
And then someone I'd really watch out for is Mateusz Skelmoza, because if you remember the last time, Tadej, Pogačar, Remco, Evenepoel dueling at Amstel Gold, neither of them wins because they forget about Mateusz Skelmoza sitting on their wheel. And we know for a fact he's been at altitude because he was in Durango for like 6 weeks training with Quinn Simmons. So I would not write him off. I think this is a great course for him. He could be there, but it will be a small group. There will not be many riders. It's interesting if Roglič gets over, he could feasibly be Pogačar could be the only rider with a teammate in the front group. But Roglič is just so many question marks there about what's going on with his form. Where is his mind? The Tour de France was not a great showing from him.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
Do you know the last time Pogačar has lost a one-day race with more than 4,000 meters of climbing?
2018.
Oh, no. It's the 2022 World Championships.
Okay. Wow.
But that's pretty good little run. I mean, he's only lost 2 as an entire career. One was the 2022 World Championships. The other one was the Olympic Games in 2021 where he got 3rd.
Right.
So
did you catch Pog's press conference where he talked about the Wollongong parcours?
No, what did he say?
He said the course was a joke. He said, I mean, he rarely is doing anything that I would characterize as diminishing the achievements of his competitors. I sensed something in these comments, though.
I will say that was, whatever we think of that course, it was kind of a weird World Championships because Kigali is actually way easier to get to than Wollongong. I heard this is the most expensive World Championships. Like no team has spent more money than they've spent at this World Championships to get there and house their riders. But that Australia World Champs was fast. Like that was a fast circuit.
Right.
That helps Remco because he's so aero. But this will not be fast. If you've watched this is like these are very slow roads. So the reason Remco Evenepoel is so good in the time trials because he's so aero, that kind of doesn't help you at certain times in road racing. You know, like you have to be positioned in the right place. You have to be strong on climbs where aero doesn't matter as much. And so I don't know if the Wollongong circuit is like a great measurement of this, even though there was a lot of climbing. I guess they were rolling up and over climbs quite a bit on that circuit. But I don't see Remco repeating as world championship here. I think that could be tough. Obviously, we were wrong about the time trial, but this is a different ball game.
I'm just pulled up the results from 2022. This is just blowing my mind. We got Peter Sagan in 7th place.
I know, isn't
It's
that
like-
weird? Super weird. It's
Yeah.
like, what is this, like 1907? What's happened here?
Yeah, I don't know. Peter Sagan recently popped up in a Ben Delaney video. It was very interesting. It's like a
Wait,
10
where was
minute.
the video?
I
Like being
think
filmed?
I'm not sure. I think it was whatever the press junket was for the release of the new specialized gravel bike. I don't even know what it's called, but
Crazy.
I was fast forwarding through it and I saw Peter Sagan making party in the middle of it. And yeah, Peter Sagan famously, along with Remco, making those BWR Kansas appearances, right?
Do you think? Wait, yeah, was Peter Sagan there? I
I
guess
don't
you're right.
know. I might be making that up. I know
I
Remco.
do feel
Remco
like he
did
was.
do the
He
event.
might have been at Unbound. Yeah, Remco. That's crazy. We did the same race as Remco. I had forgotten about that.
I think that's what drew us to the event,
Yeah,
right? Had that Remco seal of approval.
Man, I'm now thrown for. I cannot imagine Remco Evenepoel at that event.
Do you think he went to the Chipotle on Mass Street?
Definitely, he got his. I got my burrito there for the morning the night before. I think Remco did the same thing. I'm going back to Lawrence for Thanksgiving, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Then I'm like, I'm actually not going to do any of that because it's all going to be closed down because it's Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Oops, oversight there. But I mean, we'll come back to World Championships, but just on this Peter Sagan thing, I was recently watching like an Olympic gold medalist now is like a BBC host, and they were like their assignment this week was to tour the country's gas stations, and I'm like, made me think. Do you think post-retirement is less glamorous than a lot of top-level athletes think it's going to be?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, like Peter Sagan, it's like, I mean, the man is hopefully making money on all of this, and like he doesn't have to race anymore, so that's cool. But it's like, it is funny that like he was unbelievable. 3 world titles in a row, like larger than life. And then now he's like popping up in Ben Delaney videos at specialized release events.
Yeah, I hope he's doing well. He had a run of a few incidents. He had that DUI during COVID. There were just some things going on that I hope are not happening anymore. I
And
do want
heart
to,
problems.
yeah, I do want to fact check myself, Spencer. I would hate to give non-factual information.
I'm almost positive that's true. The DUI, I remember
the DUI, I'm confident is true. I believe it happened in Monaco. We can fact check that. I'm going back to my comment that Sagan had done BWR Kansas. He did not do BWR Kansas. What I think is interesting here is Sagan finishes 7th in the 2022 World Championships, Road World Championships in Wollongong. He also completed the Unbound 100, a race which I have to note again that I twice took second in. I'm going to have to mention it for perpetuity. And that was the year that Sagan and Daniel Oss showed up to do the 100. And this is potentially Colby Pierce, I think, also did it that year. This is when it made that quantum leap forward, the 100. And
how did Colby Pierce do there?
I'm sure I would have to look it up. I think that he may, I don't want to misspeak. This is a sacred race.
I saw him ripping up Flagstaff the other day.
Yeah.
Did you know he had a very provocative podcast title recently that I've not talked to you about? Okay. The title was "Your Cranks Are Probably Too Short." It's like, man, that is provocative. Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I've got Colby's. Wow. There is a gravel results, just like road results. This is incredible.
Yeah, it's super helpful, actually.
Wow. I don't think that the internet contains information about some of my biggest rides because they were so long ago, Spencer. So for Colby, it looks like 2023 was the year that he first took on the 100 and he got 5th place.
Wow. Who got first?
I don't know. I'm going to find out. I think it was, oh, wow. Okay. It was David Brower.
Shout out, David.
Yeah.
That's the result.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to find this gravel page now. It is a pretty handy page if you can find it. I'm stuck on the Colby Pierce road page, though. But, Andrew, to take it back to Worlds really quick. So, Remco Evenepoel wins the World Championship. in the time trial. I'm thinking, man, that's quite a run, right? Like it seems like every time trial he rolls up to, he wins. With the exception of mountain time trials in the Tour de France, which Tadej Pogačar wins. And Remco does okay. Didn't do great in the one this year, but maybe there's something going on. Is he the best modern time trialist, like in recent history?
We've been going back and forth on this in private because this is a very private matter.
It's a family matter. Don't be sharing this.
It does seem that the technology has escalated so much that if we look back even 10 years, are we even is this an apples to oranges comparison? Is this like comparing Pog to Eddie Merckx?
Well, you don't have to compare their like speeds. You could just compare their, I guess, palmares. I'm
just saying, taking a look at what we saw at the Vuelta, where the margin of victory was quite small in the individual time trial and in the team time trial. I'm just saying competition generally in the time trials has escalated so much as the technology, knowledge of aero, shorter cranks, people taking these carb infusions, slurries, putting the sodium bicarb on their calves. I mean, it's
well, but even think about the competition. Like, who got second? Jay Vine. Jay Vine wouldn't have been a pro racer 10 years ago because he only got discovered because of Zwift.
Right. I think Tony Martin, same number of world ITT titles. Well, no,
this is my next one. So Remco has 3 world titles, 1 Olympic gold medal, pretty good, and counting. Right, seems like he could rip them off forever. Tony Martin, I did not know this off the top of my head. You know how many world titles he has? Your guess is 3.
I'm going to say 5.
He has 4, which is a lot. He has 7 world championship podium finishes. Yes. That is a lot. That's a near decade of finishing first, second, or third at world championships. Time trial, 1 Olympic gold medal, 6 Grand Tour time trial stage wins. Remco has 5. He has 2 at the Tour de France. That's pretty good. But man, I'll tell you someone that we do not remember as a society, maybe as well as we should. It kind of feels like he's disappeared, even though he does manage a team, which is kind of weird. Fabian Cancellara, 4 world championships in the time trial, 7 podiums. He essentially stopped time trial racing after winning the world title in 2010. Like it was like, I'll just be the world's best classics racer with Tom Boonen. 2 Olympic gold medals, 11 Grand Tour time trial stage wins, 7 at the Tour de France alone. That's counting prologues. That is pretty good. I don't know if Remco's on that level yet. And that is from a guy who, like, time trialing became his part-time gig, while classics racing was his full-time gig. Like that's really impressive.
Nothing ever proven, given accusations that were later made about Fabian Cancellara. What do you think about those palmares now?
I think I just got to accept them in this. The only thing about these accusations, I don't even know if we should be talking about this. The only thing about that is...
of course we should. That's a great sign. We should talk about it.
I just don't believe that, like, if you and I and Jonathan Kaplan lived in a house and, like, I knocked over a plant and you saw me do it, like, we wouldn't be able to keep that. And I was like, don't tell Jonathan. Like, that secret would come out. Like, it's very hard to keep secrets where multiple people know about them. So the fact he couldn't have done what it's suggested he did by himself. So I just have a hard time believing that wouldn't have come out. And I'm telling you, I hear a lot of weird stuff that is not even, like, public domain about people. And no one has told me, like, definitively, like, I was in the room when X, Y, and Z happened. So that's the only thing that gives me pause.
Going back to Tony Martin, I shared this with you privately. I'll bring it up now. Tony Martin famously would put grip tape on his saddle to stop himself from scooching forward in the TT position. And, oh man, I'm looking at his position right now. It is wild how much TT positions have changed.
I know, like wild. Here, I'm looking to look it up right now. There's so much space between his head and his hands, right?
Yeah, like so much space between his head and his hands. And in fact, this doesn't get talked about much. Probably another topic that people are a bit scared of. But if you look at Floyd Landis's time trial position back in the day, he actually looks much more similar to a modern rider than almost anyone. He had that praying mantis position with the hands up, kind of covering that gap between the head and the forearms, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Got banned, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think they did ban this.
Which is, I guess, why we went back to these. Yeah, Floyd does have a really modern-looking TT position.
Yeah.
I mean, Remco, I've just a picture of Remco popped up. That is the best TT position anyone could ever do. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty
What's
good.
funny is, remember, you're supposed to be, you're taught that like good time trialists should be tall. Remco, it's like, no, just like, well, actually, that's not that important. You just go real fast, I guess.
So I'm looking at the controversy around Floyd's praying mantis position. It drew scrutiny from UCI commissaires who deemed it a violation of technical regulations due to handlebar height regulations. Bars are so high now. They have them on 8-inch tall pad risers.
Yeah, they must have either got rid of that rule or they deemed that Floyd's, like, the distance between, I guess the vertical distance between his stem and where his hands were too high. So now they've just like raised everything up. So maybe they don't violate that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tony Martin.
Now I'm just looking at TT positions.
Yeah,
Levi Leipheimer, pretty good.
Yeah, Tony Martin never the same after the Omiopi incident.
He kind of retired after that, right?
That was a bad wreck.
That was a really bad wreck. I'm going to be honest, I kind of forgot he was on Visma before I looked him up for the purposes of this research. But of course he was on Visma for the famous Omiopi. He did win a World Championships mixed relay team time trial after that. I guess that was in the last, he only raced 3 times after that. Tour Britain, World Championships, finishes 6th. And then this brings us to the man we should talk about. Also, Michael Rogers, 3 consecutive world titles. Wouldn't have guessed that. That's impressive. Where does this leave Filippo Ganna, the mascot of this podcast? He wins world titles in 2020, 2021, and he's been second 3 times since then to Remco.
Yeah, interestingly, Remco always billed as the GC saving grace for some team at some point in the future. Ganna transforms himself from the world's best time trialist into
a pretty mediocre stage racer.
And somebody who can climb pretty damn fast, yet can't win on climbs. And I think that there's potentially a lesson here.
Yes,
Spencer,
there is a lesson.
Right? What is the lesson and what might we learn from it?
Well, I'll always take this back to the most talented cyclist I've ever known in my life, I've ever ridden with, and that's Matt Fontenstiel from the Katy cycling team. And Matt, we might need an entire podcast series about this guy. He was, let's say, started off 210 pounds one season, absolutely crushing people. I'm telling you, this guy's acceleration was like 1,000 watts per minute. Unbelievable. Then one year he decides, I'm going to lose 45, 50 pounds. I'm going to come back. I'm going to be crushing everybody. And then, he's a pretty good climber. Did not have that power anymore. And we decided he had eliminated his strength and his weaknesses had gotten slightly better. And it oftentimes leaves you in a worse position than where you started. So it's like, just a good advice for life, like just be who you are. So like if you're good at something, maybe lean into that. Minimize your weaknesses as much as possible, but if you try to like be everything, you can often end up quite a bit worse than when you started the transformation.
Yeah, Spencer, you know that I am going to have you on my podcast to talk about this topic. I don't want to go into it too deep. Again, we've been discussing this privately. This is a very private matter. Let's go ahead and bring it into this space, and then we'll go deeper on Choose the Hard Way, where you and I have been talking a bit about our personal training protocols from time to time, and we will talk about this in greater detail. I put on some body fat this year. I became less neurotic about my eating because I noticed it was making me unhappy, and embracing some of the things that I love, like ice cream, It's made me a bit heavier. I have to say, I get sick much less frequently at the body weight and body composition I'm currently at than when I'm trying to hold a really low body fat. And I think there's something to be learned there.
Yeah, you do get sick a lot less. It's important. You know, being really skinny will make you quite grumpy. I hate to say it. I'm looking at Ganna's Palmares, second at Tirreno Adriatico to Juan
Imagine
Ayuso.
how grumpy Ganna is, because that guy
Must
should
be.
weigh about 35 pounds more than he does without adding much fat.
It's weird we're dragging on the guy because like he did just win a Grand Tour stage at the Vuelta.
Yeah.
He still can like get it done. Like he got 8th at Tour of Flanders. You know, he's got second at Milano San Remo this year. Like very good classics rider, very good time trialist. It's just and it's the funny thing about time trials. Why they don't is we've spent like damn near 30 minutes on this thing, but they don't often like get me that excited because I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this information. Like there's the winner and then everybody else. It's just like you've dedicated your season to getting 3rd at the World Championships. You're like, it's something about it doesn't get me going. And I kind of wonder, like, if you're the world's second fastest time trialist, like, do you have to pivot? Like, is that not a viable career?
I don't think so. I think
It's just hard to have it be your identity. You know, like even the Tony Martin, great time trialist. You know, there was a point where he was not winning big time trials, but then he was just doing different stuff, right? Remember, he won that, like, there was a Tour de France stage on the Paris-Roubaix cobbles, and he had to ride a teammate's bike with switched brakes. So it was like, wasn't the same, the lever didn't correspond to the same wheel as his, and he still wins the stage. Great teammate, obviously, on Visma. So you do kind of have to pivot. It makes me wonder about where Ganna goes from here, but where does Remco go from here, Andrew? It's funny to me this is being sold as like, Remco is going to win the Tour. It's like, well, he didn't prove us. It'd be like if someone was like, you're a serial killer. And you're like, I'm not a serial killer. I have a television. It's like, well, okay, the rebuttal had nothing to do with the question because, yeah, we knew he's a really good time trialist. Like, I don't think that's ever been debated. We're asking, can he get down to Grand Tour winner weight and climb consistently on like 21 days in a row? It doesn't matter where the climb is. You got to do pretty well. If you get dropped, you're going to lose a lot of time. To me, that's the question. Not, is he a great time trialist? I mean, how do you feel about that?
He currently looks like a tank. I just can't, I can't imagine.
He looks,
yeah.
You see this, yeah, like him on the cobbles. I was like, what is going on with his arms?
Yeah, I don't know. It's very difficult to imagine him. He's not going to win the Tour de France. That's the main thing. And we've talked about this many times on previous episodes. Given that Remco's not going to win the Tour, he likely will win stages. He might even win a road stage, not just an ITT stage. Yet, why are you building a team around him? I don't get it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that whole thing is a mess too, because it's like building the team around him and the team has amazing stage racers. And it's like, where does he slot in there? I don't fully get it. And it's hard to win. Like if he went to the Tour just to win stages, he could win a stage. But if you're a GC racer rider, you're not going to be allowed in the breakaways. Like, I don't really get it. His GC results are really funny. Like so he finishes 3rd at the 2020, he wins the 2022 Vuelta, but finishes 3rd at the 2024 Tour de France. But he's not really like, rolls up to the Dauphiné this year, just gets absolutely blown out of the water. Romandy, he's not climbing well enough. It's kind of funny for a guy that good at time trials not to be able to win 1 week stage races, because you'd think you're in the Levi Leipheimer zone where you can crush out an amazing time trial and you can just use that to win major 1 week stage races. But he's not even able to climb well enough to do that. That's a little concerning to me. I don't even know what'd be funny if he wins the world title and we have all this on tape.
Yeah,
I don't even know if he's good anymore.
We'll pull this episode from the internet,
But so to go back to the road race, who do you think is going to win? And if your answer is Pogačar, who do you think could win that's not Tadej Pogačar?
Now I'm in a Remco wormhole. And the thing I'm thinking about right now is in 2025, or now we're looking at 2026, the reality is if a healthy Pog or Jonas shows up at a Grand Tour, they're winning the Grand Tour.
I mean, we
What-
saw an unhealthy Jonas just show up to a Grand Tour and win
Yeah.
a Grand Tour.
What does that leave for other GC contenders? They just have to hope that one of these guys doesn't show, right? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it right now. Although we also, I think the example of Sagan is illustrative, where the Sagan comet blazed across the sky for at least a decade, and then it diminished. So at some point, a new comet will come streaking across the sky. I just don't believe that comet is going to be wearing a gold helmet or that its name is Remco Evenepoel.
Well, it also doesn't help that he's roughly the same age as both those guys. Like,
Yeah.
people perceive him to be like from a different generation, but him and Pogačar both won they both won their first World Tour World Tour race in the same season in 2019. It's not like Remco came along like way later than Tadej. So they're probably tethered together. I don't see him winning a Tour de France, but I guess he did win the time trial World Championships, and that's what we can say about him, that he's a great time trialist.
I just want to note, Spencer, Fenn Lorenzo, who won the men's under 23 Road World Championship. I'm looking at a photo of him. This guy looks like he's 12. He is 18 years old. And remember, Quinn, I believe, did Quinn win Junior Worlds or under 23?
I don't think he ever raced on it under 23. But let me check.
I mean, this is interesting that we have an 18-year-old racing under 23.
Well, that's like the
right?
weird thing with U23 now is all the best riders are juniors.
Right.
Like, they're all like 18 years old. I guess technically they're not juniors, but
similar to gravel.
Yeah. Like,
right?
the U23 rider is gone, basically. Like, the top guys in U23 are all teenagers. Like, there's no 22-year-olds. Wait, hold on a second. Quinn. So he did win the Min Juniors Road Race World Championship in 2019, and then went professional the next year.
Yeah, and that was in the UK, I believe, right?
Yeah, Harrogate. That's where Mads Pedersen won the senior world title.
That was a pretty brutal race. I remember watching Quinn win that race, and it looked like a grown man racing against fifth graders. I mean, physically it did. He was a big person as
big guy.
A young person. Yeah.
I also think he was one of the first guys to just skip U23, which is a very good idea. Like, U20, if you're not ready, like, obviously U23 racing is a stepping stone.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's no reason to go race at some, like, the level of like living and lifestyle is so bad. There's probably worse doping issues at the U23 level. And you're racing, as we saw with like Jonas, you're racing a lot of stuff that's just not even good for you as a super class cyclist. Like, you might as well just go pro versus doing a bunch of like glorified kermesses throughout Europe. So Quinn, good idea to go pro. And you know what? You're going to make a bunch of money right away to boot. So that's probably pretty fun too. Wait, back to the question. Who do you think is going to win the World Championships?
Pog. Who have you got?
I think Pog. Who do you think if it's not him?
If it's not Pog, I'm cruising around the start list now, and this can't be the complete start list. There are a lot of onesies and twosies in here.
Someone I would not. These are not my picks. I'm just naming. How helpful. I'm just naming riders. One person I would not overlook, Ben Healy, because he's crazy enough to get out in front of this race.
Yeah, sure.
You know, like, to be up there when they catch him or they never catch him, because like, that guy could go solo from 150K out. Like, he is a nut.
Sure. Yeah, it has to be somebody who can climb with Pog. And we've got, I don't know, Jay Vine, Jai Henley. I don't think they're likely to win. They could be there, though.
I don't know if either of those guys are good one-day racers. Is the problem.
Boy, what if Juan Ayuso won?
That's would be
possible,
something.
Right?
I think the logic of, I just wasn't in good enough shape for the Vuelta, but I'll be getting good enough shape for the hardest road world championships of all time is a little dicey. Also, people keep being like, oh, he was a last minute call up to the Vuelta, so obviously he wasn't prepared. You know who else was a last minute call up? Matthew Riccatello. Found out like 2 days before. He gets fifth overall. So not a good excuse. You know, the craziest win would be Isaac Del Toro.
Okay.
It's not impossible that he wins this.
Yeah.
That would be, I mean, I don't know if he's ever won a race, even remotely this long. That would be the big knock on him. But to be, 21 years old and to beat your superstar teammate, who's maybe the best of all time, that'd be impressive. Del Toro almost not lost any races this year either outside of the Giro d'Italia that he lost in fantastic fashion. Has bounced back from that really well. Carapaz would be a name people would say, but I think that's like a trap name. Like that's like the casino is just taking money from you. Like it's Carapaz and Julian Alaphilippe are traps. Like the casino is just cashing those checks the moment you put money on them.
I'm looking at the Great Britain start list. Nobody named Ben. Like, don't they typically have
Ben.
three Bens on the team?
A Swift, a Ben. If you're both, that's even better.
Yeah.
That's preferred.
Huh. And we have no... that's interesting. Yeah, I'm just trying to think about, is the team even going to matter in this race? This race is so hard. Like, what are your teammates going to do and put you in position to get themselves dropped? I mean,
it's a really good question. I mean, especially after Mount Kigali with 100K to go, like what teammates are even left at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, and looking at the Belgian team, who can climb? Campenaerts was there longer than I would have expected.
He was actually climbing really well at the Vuelta. I guess Quentin Hermans in theory can climb.
He's always a machine. Yeah.
I guess Van Wilder in theory. I mean, he was there. He won the Vontz stage for his teammate because he showed up at the last second. Bradley Wiggins thought he was a spectator that had jumped on a bike because he just seemed to come out of nowhere at that moment. But obviously he's a good climber if he could be there at the end of the Vontz stage.
Right.
Louis Vervarca is actually a pretty good team now that I look at it.
Yeah.
Suspicious. Will Remco Evenepoel be the top finisher from the Belgian team? That's a provocative question right there.
That's a provocative question. When do you think Alaphilippe's made for TV attack is going to go?
Set your alarms because
he's definitely doing it, right?
4 a.m. It will probably happen the first time up the Côte de Kigali golf, which we all love, which we all know. The golf course looks pretty nice, I will say. That's another thing that has caught my eye from these World Championships.
This can't be the complete U.S. star list. It's got Will Bartel, Luke Lamperti, Quinn Simmons, Kevin Vermark, Larry Warbasse.
Yeah, and Luke is a sprinter. Why is Matthew Riccatello not here? He just got 5th at the Vuelta. This is the best World Championships course he'll probably ever race. Same thing with like Brandon McNulty on incredible form.
Yeah.
McNulty was there at the end of the 2021 Olympics. Come on, Brandon. Mateo, anybody want to step up? Yeah, the U.S. team I would not say is, I think they were taking people that wanted to go. And then Quinn Simmons is the clear favorite from that. I mean, Kevin Vermark was pretty good at the Vuelta, but Quinn Simmons, Quinn is crazy enough to try to follow Pogačar. Here's the big question I have for you, Andrew. So last year, Pogačar goes with 100K to go because he ran out of teammates. Kind of interesting, like, because Slovenia's on the front, they ran out sooner than they wanted to or sooner than they thought they would. He makes the decision like, well, if I'm not here with any teammates, I'm going to get Sagan. I've got to get out of here. So he goes. Nobody follows him because they think it's crazy. No one except Quinn Simmons, and they can't catch him. What happens this year? Like if he goes with 100K to go, I can't imagine Remco just sits there and is like, oh, I'm sure we'll catch him later because now they know they maybe won't catch him. Or has the negative talk around Pogačar fooled them into thinking they will catch him and they let him go again and we watch Pogačar yet again right away 100 kilometers from the finish line? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, there's that question also. If Pog gets the gap, who's going to close the gap? Because then the chasing group, to your point, it's going to become negative racing, and who's going to want to burn the match knowing they're just going to get shelled? They're the sacrificial lamb to get across once Pog creates the separation.
The super fun thing about Worlds, too, is, I don't know if we've mentioned this, but they race as a national team, not a trade team. But like last year, I believe you had like Tim Wellens was then responsible for chasing Pogačar for Remco Evenepoel. But if we just step back and think about it for a second, Tim Wellens makes his money. His career is working for Tadej Pogačar on UAE. Right. he doesn't forget that one day a year. That's not erased from his brain. So then, and in fact, I believe the bonus for winning world championships is often paid out by your trade team. So, like, is Tim Wellens getting a cut of that if Pogačar stays away? You see some funny stuff at Worlds where people's legs tend to disappear when they're trying to chase a trade teammate.
Spencer, do you know who won Junior Road Worlds the year prior to Quinn Simmons?
Junior
Without
Road
looking it up. Yeah.
The Junior Road Worlds the year. So that would have been in Innsbruck. The winner was Remco Evenepoel.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was a good ride.
It's interesting to think about these two athletes now in the showdown we might see on Sunday.
Well, it's good. It's good that we're seeing that because logic would dictate the riders that are good. Just think about this. Athletes that are good when you're a teenager tend to be the athletes that are good later in life. In cycling, like if you go back 20, 30 years and you look at the junior, like world championships, it's oftentimes the top 10, you don't even know the people. You know, it's like They never did anything else. It makes no sense whatsoever. And then now you're actually seeing riders like Remco, Quinn Simmons, like they're winning junior worlds and then they are the top professionals. Isaac Del Toro, Tadej Pogačar, like these guys do well as juniors and then they win when they're seniors. That kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's funny. Like it's shocking when you go to junior worlds if I can get to this page, it is really wild. Like how decoupled some of this is from what actually happens later. So let's go to MJ's men's junior. Let's just pull up year 2002. The winner, Arno Girard, second place, Jukka Vastranta from Finland, Nicholas Sanderson in third, Tom Wheelers, who I believe was a good professional. Yeah, he was good. Mate Jurko from Slovenia, I believe. No, Slovakia. He was a professional on Milram. But it's just like you would think that the stars would be winning the junior world championships. And then this guy, Arnaud Girard, I don't even think, I guess he did race for France du Jour. He was a pro for a while.
I'm going to throw out a wild one. And to your point, yes, the athletes who are winning junior worlds often become the best riders in the world later, with the caveat that there often is a high degree of burnout between the junior ranks and then becoming an elite rider at the world tour level. And I was searching my brain trying to think about who this athlete was, but it finally came to mind. Do you remember Matt Kelly, who in 1999 won the junior cyclocross world champions, the first American to ever do that?
No, I don't remember this person.
Yeah. And subsequently, he left the sport. Not too long after this achievement, I don't think. And yeah, not everybody's built to do this and to live that life.
There was like a very notable team manager on a very notable team, and he said they signed the most talented rider he'd ever seen in his life. And this guy was like future Tour de France winner. Training camp rolls around, the guy doesn't show up. Never heard from him again. He just didn't show up.
Yeah,
disappeared into the abyss of the world. So yeah, I guess it does happen where people perform well and then they just burn out mentally.
Yeah, I think, Matt, the last results that I could find are in the 2005-2006 elite season, and it looks like he had one win at Bio Wheels. I don't even know. Is that his team?
I love that. Wow. Love that race.
I don't know, but it was on September 10th, 2005. And I'm not sure what Matt's up to now. Maybe.
So here's some depressing stats for you.
Yeah.
In the last 20 major one-day races, that's monuments, Olympics, world championships, how many total riders do you think have won those 20 races?
Yeah. How many?
Yeah. 20 major races. So you'd think like, I don't know,
3.
10 riders. 10?
3.
There's 4. That is, okay. And one of them is Jasper Philipsen, who has one win. The rest are Remco Evenepoel, Mathieu van der Poel, Tadej Pogačar. Like that we always get fooled going into these events. Or like, ooh, all these people could win. It's like, I don't know if anyone's noticed, the same riders win everything now. Like there's almost no parity anymore.
Yeah, there's no parity. I have the Matt Kelly story for you because this sprang to mind because I remembered him leaving the sport not long after that Worlds win. So he left in 2001 and then he moved to Hawaii. And yeah, he spent the next 4 years lounging on beaches in Hawaii, skiing in Colorado, and working on organic farms. This sounds like a typical CU Boulder student.
Wait, where did he go to? Did he go to school?
No, and CU Boulder, you're a fantastic school. I'm just making a joke.
That definitely. I mean, I would have believed that. And there's shots at CU Boulder, but that does sound a lot like that.
Yeah.
I'm woofing. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, you run into so many people. I'm just woofing, man. Working on an organic farm in Haiku, getting a little money in my pocket.
He walked away from the sport after pulling out of the Tour of the Gila in 2001. That race has taken a lot of souls.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was back though. 2005, 6.
That's right.
Finishing, wins the Cincinnati C2 cross race. Wow.
Nice.
Impressive stuff. Wow, we should do an entire episode on this guy.
Maybe we need to have Matt on. I think it'd be interesting.
That would be pretty interesting. He's only 44 years old. You'd think of like, when you said that, I was like, how old is this guy? 100? 44. Interesting. Wow. Matt Kelly. Very. Oh, did Fred Dreyer do a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fred did a comeback. Where has he been? He said he got back into cycling.
That's the Fred Dreyer wheelhouse right there.
Yeah.
That's when Fred's
shout out
cooking.
Fred. Yeah. He got back into it after watching the Olympics in Greece and thinking that I missed my chance to be there. And then he said he wanted to be in the Olympics, and then he came back for a season. And not everybody's about that life, Spencer.
No.
I do want to throw this out there. This is going to seem like a bit of a non sequitur, but we have some pretty big things cooking when we think about the future of Beyond the Peloton. We can't really get into it right now, but I just want you to imagine, what if there were a replica of Tulsa Tough, but held at a international location, full replica? Just think about it. More to come later.
The best part about this is you've never been there, and I haven't been in like 10 years. Like
yeah, I think we have to be there next year. Does it interfere with the tour?
No, it does not.
Okay.
It's very well.
Yeah,
it's actually
I think
very well placed.
Yeah, we need to be on the ground at Tulsa Tough. We're kind of working out the late 2025, 2026 schedule right now. We are going to be having some things happening in real life. There is, of course, my attempt, which is really not that difficult to do. I'm still trying to find the time to do it. I am going to be doing the Katy Trail from Kansas City, Missouri to Columbia in one day. I've been
This is crazy, by the way. Like, how long do you think that would take?
I think it's going to take... It depends. If I have to do it alone, which I would prefer not to do, because knowing the Midwest, I could imagine a day where you're getting a headwind, even though you're heading east. Like, it could happen, or there's a tornado or something. Yeah, and it's like a 15-hour day. And, we're both busy. I'm in Maine. Spencer's in Colorado. Kip will always answer the bell. So I think there's a non-zero chance Kip steps out of Kip's corner and drops in for this. Jonathan Kaplan, capable. We see he's been doing those pro activation drills now that he's working to become a hybrid fitness influencer on Instagram. Maybe he comes out of DC for this. I think that this is doable with the right crew in, I'm going to say 11 hours. Because you're going to have to stop for water at some point.
That is a big day. That's a big day.
That'd be my biggest day ever. I don't have a strong interest in being on a bike for 11 hours, but this would really be just about the camaraderie. And the sticky wicket here is I've been in negotiations. I've tried to bring people in to get the clearances. Spencer's wife has not responded to my Instagram DM from 8 months ago about this, but I think that this is mission critical as part of the coming year. And in addition to that, Snake Alley, I'm not sure where else will pop up.
Snake
Quad
Alley.
Cities.
I love. Yeah, give me to the Quad Cities. I got a soft spot for that place.
Maybe
it's also
Toad.
Tough quad.
Maybe we're back as masters. I don't know.
Yeah, the problem is I'm like stuck in this weird place where I'm not eligible for masters. But I'm like, now I would either have to cat down, which I will never do. I will die before I cat down, or just get blown out of the water in the pro one too.
Yeah. I would have a lot of work ahead of me, and just even saying these things out loud and thinking about stepping back into criterium racing at this advanced phase in life, I can already see broken pelvis, being in traction in a hospital bed. Just but with that that box
from rolling down
with a box of Cliff Bars that expired in 2018 next to the bed because I won the Cliff Bar Nut Butter Preem.
They're hard as a rock. You're gonna break a tooth if you bite into that thing. Since you've opened the kimono on this, I have to share this, and I'm trying to think of how to anonymize it enough. I was talking to someone recently. I was talking to someone not recently. They were saying, I don't know if I can say this. They were saying Pete Chris Froome could not hang on the stages Tuesday, or Turned Up Tuesday is the ride. It's a ride in Boulder, Colorado. They said Chris Froome could not, he would get dropped from the ride. This is like Tour de France winning era Chris Froome, because he doesn't have enough power. Like, do you understand? The surges on that ride are like probably 50 watts above his threshold power. He's not going to get dropped from this ride. And then the sister to this take is, on a recent group ride, someone put forth the idea that Mathieu van der Poel might struggle actually to win Tulsa Tough because he just doesn't have that crit skill. I was circulating a video amongst us, Andrew, of Tom Pitcock, a young Tom Pitcock, slicing it up in some local crits in the UK. I think people don't fully understand how good these guys are at bike handling, and how if Mathieu van der Poel was sitting on the front of Tulsa Tough, he would be in zone 2. He could just sit on the front and position himself without even leaving zone 2. Like, that's how good they are. But would you agree or disagree with this take?
If World Tour pros showed up at Tulsa Tough, Pitcock, van der Poel, they should prepare to shed tears.
They can't hang. Someone was like, well, you can't solo, it's too fast. But didn't we watch that guy? Remember Moritz Wagner, who you talked to? He soloed off the front of the Brady Village crit. I mean, maybe
sorry to leave you hanging, Moritz. We still want to have you on. I know
Moritz, you're coming on 2 years to your anniversary of your win. You're coming on, bud.
Well, maybe we'll clone him for the simulation we have planned.
I guess like Friday night is like you have to be like a true crit specialist to win. But man, that Pitcock video, like I was blown away at this. Like, this guy, it shows you just, and he puts Russell Downing, who's like the UK's top crit rider, like into the, like, he didn't even touch him, and he put him into the barriers because the guy was like, he was like trying to follow, or he was like whacked out by what Pitcock was doing, and he just ends up in the barriers. And that's the top crit rider at the time in the UK. So at least some of these guys would do pretty well, I think.
I had a follow-up question after watching that video with Pitcock. I've been thinking about this both in relation to his descending, his UTV driving, as well as this clip of him taking an unauthorized inside line. He definitely was drifting, and he cut off the rider you mentioned. He cut off that rider's apex, and the rider had...
Well, he took him. It wasn't even inside line. It was an outside
Oh, you're
line.
right. Yeah.
You rarely see the outside
oh my God.
line pass.
You're right.
Yeah.
Pitcock took an outside line around this guy. The guy got so freaked out. It was like the Forrest land speeder scene in Return of the Jedi where a stormtrooper goes into a tree. That's what it looked like. This guy just goes into the barriers and absolutely detonates.
It's like Pitcock doesn't touch him. Like technically, if he just would have pretended like he wasn't there, he would have been fine. But he's like so whacked out by what's happening, he just crashes into the barriers.
Yeah, it was real bad.
Yeah.
And then in the interview afterwards, they asked Pitcock about that move, and Pitcock said, "Oh, I don't know. I felt like maybe he slid or something. He didn't even know that he'd wrecked." I like that level of hyper self-focus, like as if he has a force field in sport and life.
He's like, "Oh, was there someone there? Like, I didn't even. Oh, I hope they're okay. Didn't even know they were there." Like, it's a wild video. Like,
it is
a
really
great camera angle, and like gives you an idea for the angle that he's cornering at is unbelievable.
It's insane. All the time, I'm like, can my tires really do this? I'm definitely not pushing my tires to their limit ever. Watching Pitcock, though, here, to get to my question, do you think that in addition to his exceptional level of skill as a bike handler, do you think that it's to his advantage that he's a shorter rider because he has a lower center of gravity? Do you think that is an advantage in these bike handling and cornering scenarios?
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I was like, man, I wouldn't copy Pitcock's angles because the way he's weighting those tires is way different than not even just being short, but like he can get so low.
Yeah.
And like can weight the bike so well that like his tires can probably handle a far more extreme angle than most people.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, better than most people, almost anyone in the world. Like we saw Chris Froome. Remember he tried to follow him on the Alpe d'Huez stage and he just couldn't follow him because he can't position himself on the bike the same because he's like 6'2".
The world's most awkward person on a bicycle can't match Pitcock, right?
Yeah. He did win a downhill. He won a mountain stage descending.
Yeah. This is another tangent. I was actually thinking this week about the super tuck. I just don't feel good getting in that position. It's wild to think about people racing in the super tuck.
Yeah, I think it's that someone emailed me though, like, has the UCI ever made a good decision? I think banning the super tuck was probably a good decision.
Yeah, it just looks like you're going to lose your teeth. That's what I think about when I look at a super tuck.
Best case scenario, losing your teeth.
Yeah.
We used to descend like Haleakala on Maui. It's an hour-long descent. Like that's the KOM on like, so like could be 90 minutes if you're just descending the whole time. And there's a section where it's fast, like 60 miles an hour. Got in the super tuck there one time. Boom, hit a bird. I mean, I'm lucky it didn't in my face, but boom, stuck right in my helmet. But like, man, if that hit my face, holy smokes, I'd be going down. Yeah, never been the same since. That freaked me out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, we'll let you go. I mean, I guess we ended where we began. Tom Pitcock is the dark horse for this race because the man, he's a winner. He can win a crit. He can win the hardest world championships course I've ever seen. But we'll let you go, and we'll be back to this race is on Flow Bikes, by the way. This should be at the beginning of the show. You're going to wonder, where is this race? How do I watch this race? Well, that Flow Bikes account you could not get rid of. It's on there. So watch it on Flow Bikes if you're in the US.
Yeah, watch it on Flow Bikes. I want to throw out a question to our listeners. You can let us know what you do. Spencer, as you know, right before this call, I went out to take a small local KOM here on a flat stretch of road. I will say I hadn't shaved my legs in 5 months. I felt like this was the day. I felt I needed to get serious about this. And I did put on a skin suit that is a decade old. And I was thinking about all the specialized wind tunnel videos, and I believe it's been proven pretty definitively at this point that there is a significant aerodynamic advantage, number one, from aero socks. I think you can actually save around 9 or 10 watts at around 30 miles an hour, which is the speed I was moving at today for 2 minutes. And also shaving your arms, I believe, affords you a large advantage. I'm just not prepared to go there. I'm wondering, people out there listening, do you go that deep? Or are you shaving your arms?
I know someone that shaves their arms who listens to the show. It does save you a lot. I think the Lionel Sanders did a video where he did wind tunnel testing and found that the aero socks were the same as his shaven legs.
Wow.
potential
Okay.
scam going on there with the Aero socks.
Yeah, there's a bit of bro science going on over at the Lionel Sanders channel from time to time, I think.
It's a pretty good little video. I mean,
Yeah, his channel is fantastic, but Lionel Sanders I do watch his content, and he takes a very experimental approach, which I think is great. In the last 12 months, his two big revelations are he's discovered that number one, sleeping, and number two, eating make you go faster.
yeah, this was big
I
revelation.
mean, those things are absolutely true. And I recommend if you want to go fast, you tell me, are you shaving your arms if you want to get that KOM? Are you about that life? Or are you like me, maybe holding back a little bit? And definitely eat and go to bed.
I can't believe you did a flat KOM by yourself. That's like Chatham House rules or something. Like that's from a bygone era. Everyone out here, you got to have that. You get that moto pace.
Yeah, I didn't have
Yeah.
that available. I just had to do it the old-fashioned way, and you know you're going hard enough when you start to lose feeling in your arms and face, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's always a great feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah. To think you just could have been behind Alan Lib on the moto, cruising along 30 miles an hour.
it's on my tick list for this year.
All right, Andrew. Well, we will talk soon, and thank you so much for joining us for this highly structured World Championship preview.